Before Nicki and Carey, before the internet turned music beef into a spectator sport, there was Mariah and JLO, two global superstars, one powerful ex-husband, and a rivalry so deep that decades later, the only response left was,
I don't know her.
Welcome back to G-Check, where pop culture gets cross-examined. Picture this, it's 1993. Mariah Carey marries Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola in a fairy tale wedding. But behind closed doors, Mariah later described the marriage as controlling and suffocating. After their split in 1997, Mariah released Honey as the lead single from Butterfly. It marked her first project after separating from Tommy. The video wasn't just a playful spy fantasy. It was symbolic. Mariah escapes a mansion guarded by suited men and transforms into her liberated self. Fans and insiders immediately recognized it as a visual metaphor for breaking free from Tommy's control. Mariah has openly said that during her marriage, he controlled even the smallest details of her image, including her hair. She revealed that he wouldn't let her wear anything that felt too sexy. So when she debuted the Honey video in 1997 with loose curls, wet hair, and pieces falling across her face, it wasn't just a new look, it was a declaration. The visual was Mariah saying, I'm done being controlled. Butterfly and Honey became the era where she finally stepped into her own identity in her own terms. By 1998, the divorce is finalized, and Tommy loses not just his wife, but the crown jewel of Columbia Records, one of the flagship labels under Sony. You see, Mariah wasn't just a star, she was the label engine. By the late 90s, she had already sold over 100 million records worldwide, and was one of the most profitable artists in Sony history. Mariah was literally a global superstar. Mariah negotiated her exit from Sony and signed a historic 80+ million deal with Virgin Records, the biggest recording contract ever at that time. Tommy was furious, embarrassed, and suddenly missing his biggest superstar, which brings us to Jennifer Lopez. Tommy noticed Jennifer Lopez in 1997 after she starred in the movie Selena. She had charisma, crossover appeal, and the exact new superstar energy he needed. In 1999, JLO released her debut album On the 6th, but Tommy wasn't using her as a weapon yet. He was building her. Mariah even said in a 1999 interview that she didn't see a rivalry because JLO was a dancer. But behind the scenes, Tommy was quietly blueprinting JLO's rise, waiting for the perfect moment to retaliate. That moment arrived in 2000. Mariah spent 2000 filming and recording her passion project Glitter. She licensed the 1978 Yellow Magic Orchestra track Firecracker for her lead single Loverboy. She was the first artist to clear it. But because Glitter was produced by Columbia Pictures, a Sony subsidiary, Tommy Mottola still had access to early footage, demos, and production materials. Within 3 weeks of Mariah clearing the Firecracker sample, Tommy's team contacted the publisher and rushed to clear the same sample for Jennifer Lopez's upcoming album, JLO. When Mariah's team went to finalize the sample, they were told it was no longer available. It had just been approved for another artist, Jennifer Lopez, for the original pop version of I'm Real. This wasn't coincidence, it was strategy. At the same time, Mariah reached out to Ja Rule for a hip-hop pop remix for Loverboy. She was one of the pioneers of blending R&B, pop, and hip-hop long before it became mainstream. But before the collaboration could happen, Tommy allegedly contacted Murder Inc. and asked for a similar record for Jennifer Lopez. Irv Gotti later confirmed publicly that Tommy called him early in the morning demanding a Ja Rule duet for JLO in the same style Mariah was working on. The result was the I'm Real Murder remix, the version that transformed JLo's sound and became one of her biggest hits. Mariah had to rebuild Loverboy from scratch using a cameo Candy sample. The rollout was disrupted, the sound changed, and the narrative shifted. This wasn't just competition, this was imitation. Even though Mariah was signed to Virgin Records, Glitter kept her tied to Sony's corporate ecosystem. Tommy still had influence over sample clearances, producers and writers, radio relationships, film production decisions, and marketing budgets. Mariah later said she felt sabotaged during the Glitter era. The stress contributed to her highly publicized physical and emotional breakdown, which we'll get to later. But first, the sabotage continues. In 2001, designer Manolo Blahnik created a stiletto Timberland boot inspired by Mariah Carey's Long Island roots. Urban glam meets New York grit. The design was meant specifically for her. But JLo's stylist, Andrea Lieberman, saw the unreleased sample pair in the showroom and pulled them for the Jenny from the Block video. Once JLo debuted them to millions, the world associated the shoe with her, even though the original muse was Mariah. Blahnik later created a custom pink suede version specifically for Mariah to make up for the mix-up. Now, we don't know if this was necessarily purposely done, but it's another example of how the industry's machinery kept redirecting Mariah's things towards JLO during that era. Then, in July of 2001, Mariah suffered a widely publicized breakdown, exhaustion, stress, and nonstop work. The media pretty much framed it as her going crazy. But get this, years later, allegations surfaced from Jennifer Lopez's first husband, Ohani Noah, who attempted to publish a book and release tapes. His camp claimed JLO practiced Santería and brujería to influence relationships and career outcomes. JLO's legal team fought to block the release of Noah's materials, but the rumors became part of Hollywood folklore. You see, many Santería practitioners will tell you spiritual attacks can manifest as emotional or physical distress. So this added an extra layer to Mariah Carey's breakdown. It was one I believed 100%. Growing up knowing about Santería is commonly spoken on that spell work can drive a person to the brink of insanity. But whether it's true or not, the allegations added a darker layer to an already chaotic era. Mariah later revealed that during this breakdown era, she was actually struggling with bipolar II disorder, a diagnosis she didn't publicly share until 2018. Now it's 2026. And over the years, the curtain has been pulled back on just how heavily manufactured Jennifer Lopez's early music career really was. Multiple writers, producers, and even background vocalists have come forward saying they provided vocals or wrote songs that JLO was credited for, including a woman from my home state, Connecticut, Natasha Ramos, who publicly claimed she sang and wrote much of JLO's early material and only received $3,500.
So like, am I supposed to introduce myself? A lot of y'all don't know who I am, so I will anyway. I'm Natasha Ramos, and I'm the voice of Jenny from the Block. So like I said, I was not in the room when the negotiations were happening. And I have thought to myself over the years, like, I wonder if Jennifer knows I got paid so little for all of the work I did on her album. And I really hope that she doesn't. I really hope that she didn't. But also, I'm pretty sure she was in the room.
Whether people believe every allegation or not, the pattern is clear. A lot of her biggest records were built by other people behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Mariah Carey has always been one of the rare pop superstars who actually writes her own music, melodies, lyrics, and arrangements. She even joked in an interview when asked about JLO claiming to always get 8 hours of sleep. She responded that JLO gets to sleep 8 hours a night because she doesn't write her own songs. And that's the difference. Manufactured careers can shine for a moment, but true artistry lasts. When the smoke clears and the industry tricks fade, the talent that's real, the pen, the voice, the vision, is what stands undefeated. When we look back at the wreckage of Mariah's glitter era, it's easy to look at it the same way we look at Nicki and Carey, as a beef amongst artists. But the real story is about surviving when people and principalities try to dim your light. Galatians 6:7 says, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." You can steal a sample, you can intercept a shoe, you can manipulate systems or spirits to chase a throne that wasn't built for you, but earthly schemes always come with expiration dates. Mariah went through the fire. She broke down publicly, her movie flopped, corporate giants tried to erase her, but in 2005, she rose with the emancipation of Mimi, breaking records and reclaiming her crown. What God ordains for your life cannot be stolen by an executive, a stylist, or a lico brujeria spell, as long as you keep your eyes fixed on him. I'm not saying that that's what Mariah did, but even when it looks like others coming against you are prospering, continue to stand on what God put in you, unmoved and unbothered. Let the Lord handle anything and anybody that thought they could play with you or your purpose.